Hi guys, just getting back after last week's video on St. John's Wort, where people have come back with a couple more questions, so I said I would respond. So the first thing people are interested in is, why was St. John's Wort removed from the shelves of health food shops and pharmacies? And the second is, if you're going to go ahead and use St. John's Wort, how can it be done most effectively and safely, considering the contraindications that are there with the herb? So a lot of people out there feel that St. John's Wort was removed from the shelves of health food shops and pharmacies because it's actually quite a powerful herb. It was doing a lot of good and people were using it in the place of pharmaceutical medication. Now, I don't necessarily buy into that as being the whole picture, but there's certainly some truth in that. A lot of natural remedies that people are using outside of the conventional system can challenge the system and can be interfered with, is the wrong word. There can be an impact on the unavailability as a result of that. However, that's not the full picture. There are some contraindications using St. John's Wort that are significant enough for people to be concerned about, and I'm going to talk about them in a second. So, you can do your own research. I'm saying, why was it removed? It's a combination of reasons. There are some contraindications there. The official line was that St. John's Wort posed a risk to people taking it unprescribed. But there's also, another side to that story, and who benefits from a herb like St. John's Wort being removed from people being able to use it themselves. So you can make your own mind up on that. That's just a little bit of a background. So moving on to, if you are going to take this herb, which is a wonderful herb to take, what are the things you should really consider to make it as effective as possible and to make it safe? So my biggest concern with people taking St. John's Wort with no information is that generally people take it for the purposes of low mood. People might be feeling depressed, people might have had a occurrence in their life that they have a low mood with no history of depression. They don't want to go to a doctor, they just want something to lift them. This is a very, very effective herb for doing this. However, if you are currently on a category of antidepressants called SSRIs, this herb actually interferes with the working of certain antidepressants. So this is where people not having information and not being educated can make choices based on misinformation. So what I would say to people who are looking for a natural approach to deal with their low mood, to deal with depression, is this. If you are functioning in your life, if you have low-grade depression or some kind of responsive situation within your life that needs support, something gentle, something natural, St. John's Wort is a really, really good option. If you are really struggling, if your life is being hugely impacted in a negative way from your mood, if you're on any medication, sleeping tablets, antidepressants, anti-anxiety tablets, anything like that, you really need to not be taking a herb like St. John's Wort without being under the guidance of a professional. So I use St. John's Wort in my practice all the time. I use it in combination with other herbs. I use it tailored specifically for the person's situation and circumstance. So when we use St. John's Wort, it needs to be quite targeted where people are in a situation that is quite serious. As I say, if you have a tendency towards dips in your mood, you're functioning correctly, you're not on any medication, and you're just looking for something to support you in your life, it's a really, really good idea to get yourself some St. John's Wort. Another contraindication or thing to be aware of is St. John's Wort can possibly interact with the contraceptive pill. So once again, people aren't aware of this. People think herbs are natural. I can take loads of them. I can take whatever. It's not something to be concerned about. The truth is, herbs are very powerful, and if they're taken without the right information, they can interfere with other medications and they can cause problems. So if you're taking any kind of hormonal contraceptive, be it the pill or any of the rest of the Mirena coil implant, taking St. John's wort is posing a risk to the effectiveness of that contraception. So something to consider. And lastly, there are some studies out there, and there have been some reported reactions around photosensitivity of the skin when taking St. John's wort. Now, the context of this research I'm not 100% sure on, but if you have a history of sensitive skin in relation to photosensitivity or the sun, I would be, once again, not taking this herb without professional guidance. So they're the three things. Any medication, antidepressants, any kind of anti-anxiety medication, you really want to be getting some professional advice. Contraceptive pill, don't take St. John's wort in conjunction with it unless you want a little surprise. And the photosensitivity if you have any history of it. So I hope that answers the questions that were coming in during the week. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.